Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. Here are the top stories. Reports claiming that Malaysia handed over land to Indonesia. Prime Minister hits back at opposition for abusing freedom of speech. And fate of FAM and 7 heritage players, CAS sets February 26th for hearing. Good morning. The Prime Minister said there is no need for the government, including in Parliament, to provide an explanation regarding reports claiming that Malaysia had handed over 5,207 hectares of land to Indonesia. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim also hit out at the opposition for making such claims and abusing freedom of speech.
Dakwaan pembangkang katanya kerajaan menyerahkan lebih 5,000 hektar kepada kerajaan Indonesia.
Ini masalah pembangkang ni. Dia guna kebebasan, bercakap, merapu, bohong, guna Islam, guna nama Islam, tipu, guna fakta salah. Kalau dia tanya, kata, kami minta Perdana Menteri beri penjelasan. Tak apa, dia buat hukuman. Hukuman menipu terus-menerus. Saya tidak boleh terima alasan begini. Ini bukan perangai pembangkang yang wajar dalam negara kita. Mesti bertanggungjawab.
Akan bagi penjelasan di Parlimen mungkin?
Tak perlu bagi penjelasan. Dia mesti bertanggungjawab. Buat tuduhan, menipu, memfitnah terus-menerus. Dan kita tidak boleh terima cara kaedah politik buruk dan busuk seperti ini.
On another note, the Prime Minister said senior government officials must be monitored more closely, noting that administrative failings often originate at the top levels of leadership. Anwar said the government is committed to strengthening enforcement at all levels of administration, including federal, state and local authorities, to ensure more effective implementation of policies and regulations. Speaking after performing Friday prayers at the Ar-Rahimah Mosque in Taman Greenwood, Gombak on Friday, Anwar said enforcement was discussed during Friday's cabinet meeting.
Dan saya tahu ada beberapa tindakan mula diambil. Tapi jangan kita mudah berpuas hati kerana nak pastikan setiap peringkat. Kita juga teliti peringkat bukan sahaja peringkat persekutuan negeri dan juga kadang-kadang balik perbandaran. Tindakannya, kebersihannya, beberapa pelaksanaan dan penguasaan itu lemah. Jadi mesti ada gerakan dan rancangan yang menyeluruh, yang melibatkan seluruh kekuatan jentera negara.
He added that he also pays attention to issues at the grassroots level, including the management of stalls, hygiene standards and compliance with regulations concerning foreign workers. In this regard, he stressed issues at the lower levels, such as the management of stalls, the implementation of cleanliness standards, the entry of foreign workers who do not comply with regulations, and violations involving foreigners being allowed to work without following proper procedures. After performing the Friday prayers, the Prime Minister visited Batu Caves to check out the preparations for the Thaipusam celebration, which will be observed by the Hindus this Sunday. The visit focused on the Sri Subramaniar Swami Temple complex at Batu Caves, the main focal point for devotees from within and outside the country during Thaipusam. He was received by Digital Minister Gobind Singh Dio, Human Resources Minister Datuk Seri R. Ramanan and Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Syari before touring key areas. During the hour-long visit, the Prime Minister also interacted with devotees and volunteers involved in the preparations and attended a briefing with organisers to ensure the celebration proceeds smoothly and safely. Later at night, Anwar stressed that the government, public and private sectors, along with tourism bodies and industry players, must work together to strengthen Malaysia's position in the tourism sector. He said the nation must be driven by a strong spirit and determination to make Malaysia a great and successful country.
Sektor kerajaan, sektor awam, sektor swasta, badan-badan pelancongan, syarikat, semua ini punya peranan melihat cara positif bagaimana boleh kita usahakan ikhtiar tambahan untuk mengangkat martabat negara kita.
He was speaking at the Cerita Malaysia program held in conjunction with Visit Malaysia 2026 in Selangor. For Visit Malaysia 2026, the government is targeting 329 billion ringgit in foreign tourism receipts, while for the domestic numbers, 302 million visitors are expected. The Court of Arbitration for Sport, or CAS, has set February 26 for a hearing in Lausanne, Switzerland, to decide the fate of 7 professional footballers and the Football Association of Malaysia, FAM's appeal against FIFA. The case involving mixed heritage players Facundo Garces, Rodrigo Holgado, Imanol Machuca, Joao Figueiredo, Gabriel Palmero, John Irazabal and Hector Hevel, together with the FAM, have been consolidated and will be heard jointly. All the players were sanctioned by FIFA on September 25th last year, receiving 12-month suspensions from all football-related activities and fines. However, on January 26, CAS granted provisional measures, temporarily staying the sanctions until a final decision is delivered following next month's hearing. The outcome of the proceedings will determine whether the suspensions are upheld, reduced or overturned. Applications for 20,000 teaching positions, or DG9 grade education service officer posts, will be open from March 2nd to 20th. Education Director General Muhammad Azam Ahmad said the contract-based recruitment is intended to support the successful implementation of the National Education Plan 2026-2035. Azam said that the official announcement for the recruitment will be made on February 23rd, while the screening and interview process is scheduled to take place from April 27th to May 14th in collaboration with the Education Services Commission. The mass recruitment is part of the Education Ministry's early preparations for the blueprint's implementation. It is also intended to support the voluntary enrollment of 6-year-old children into Year 1 next year. Selected candidates will undergo professional training at the Teacher Education Institute in various specialization fields to ensure teacher competency standards are upheld. As the government continues its fight against corruption and abuse of power, it has been revealed that several enforcement officers have reportedly collected millions in bribes annually. The matter came to light following an MACC investigation, which found that a prominent nationwide massage parlour network allegedly paid at least 2.7 million ringgit each year to safeguard its illegal activities. The MACC has arrested 5 men, including 4 enforcement officers and a retired officer, over their alleged involvement in corruption. 4 of the suspects were remanded for 4 days until February 2nd after the MACC's remand application was approved at the Putrajaya Magistrates Court on Friday. A source said all 5 suspects aged between their 30s and 60s were detained at MACC headquarters in Putrajaya on Thursday while giving their statements. The suspects are believed to have received bribes from a massage parlour business to facilitate its operations and ease the process of obtaining foreign worker permits. So far, the MACC has recorded statements from 16 witnesses. The Commission also conducted searches at 6 locations across the Klang Valley, including offices and residences of the suspects. A total of 124 bank accounts belonging to individuals and companies involving an estimated 13.3 million ringgit have been frozen. MACC Special Operations Division Senior Director Datuk Muhammad Zamri Zainul Abidin confirmed the arrests and said the case is being investigated under the MACC Act. In another proceeding, the Environment Department's DOE Director General and Deputy Director General have been remanded for 7 days to assist in a corruption probe involving electronic waste, e-waste management. The 2 senior officials, along with an assistant officer from the same department, will be held until next Thursday. A 4th individual, a civilian, was remanded for 3 days until Sunday. It was reported on Thursday that the Director General and his deputy were detained at about 6:30 p.m. after providing statements at the MACC headquarters here. The investigation focuses on allegations of abuse of power and bribery linked to e-waste management suspected to have occurred over several years. On Monday, 16 bank accounts totaling 10 million ringgit were frozen in connection with the investigation. In the meantime, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces Joint Forces Headquarters, Major General Datuk Muhammad Fauzi Khamis, pleaded not guilty in the Sessions Court on Friday to a charge of criminal breach of trust CBT involving 5 million ringgit from the Armed Forces Welfare Fund. 56-year-old Fauzi entered the plea after the charge was read before Judge Suzana Hussain. According to the charge sheet, Fauzi, in his capacity as Assistant Chief of Staff for Personnel Services and Chairman of the Armed Forces Welfare Fund Investment Committee, was entrusted with 5 million ringgit belonging to the fund. He is alleged to have misappropriated the money by making an additional investment in precious amber International Berhad without the committee's approval. The offence was allegedly committed at the Defence Ministry headquarters on November 27, 2023. The charge under the Penal Code carries a maximum sentence of 20 years imprisonment, whipping and a fine upon conviction. The court set 100,000 ringgit bail with one surety and ordered the accused to surrender his passport to the court until the disposal of the case. The court also fixed March 16th for mention. In Negeri Sembilan, a Port Dickson Municipal Council Assistant Administrative Officer pleaded not guilty at the Sessions Court in Seremban on Friday to 6 counts of abusing her position to obtain bribes, totaling more than 47,000 ringgit between June 2022 and March 2024. 53-year-old Hamiza Hasnin entered her plea after the charges were read out to her before Judge N. Kanageswari. Hamiza allegedly used her position to secure bribes through service contracts for the municipal council awarded to a company owned by her son-in-law. She was also charged with using her position to receive 8,141 ringgit for herself by proposing the same company as a supplier for another departmental program valued at 8,570 ringgit. The offences are said to have been committed at the municipal council under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act. If convicted, Hamiza faces up to 20 years imprisonment and a fine of 5 times the bribe amount or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher. The court set bail at 10,000 ringgit with one surety and fixed March 13th for mention. Free trade agreements, FTAs, between Malaysia and its trading partners have proven effective, with nearly 70% of the country's total trade worth 3.061 trillion ringgit last year involved countries that are part of FTAs. Malaysia External Trade Development Corp Martrade Chairman Datuk Sri Rizal American said all 17 FTAs recorded total trade exceeding 2 trillion ringgit for the first time. Rizal said the FTAs are effective tools that stimulate trade more rapidly, covering 2/3 of total trade.
It works wonder. Kita tak mahu Malaysia untuk menjadi sebagai negara pasaran saja. Kita nak Malaysia menjadi negara sebagai hub, a launch pad, gateway. Kalau nak dapat barang pergi ke ASEAN, main Malaysia dulu and then you go. So dengan cara itu barulah sebuah negara yang dijadikan negara dagangan ini dapat meningkat.
He added that Malaysia currently has 18 FTAs, including the most recent one with the European Free Trade Association involving Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. Rizal is confident that the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry would diversify markets by exploring more FTA opportunities, including in Africa, which is emerging as a new market focus. Commenting on the Malaysia-United States Reciprocal Trade Agreement, he called for full trust to be placed in the government leadership, particularly Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani, to conduct the negotiations.
So saya rasa he has got a well-rounded picture and personality. Dia pernah jadi Menteri Kewangan, dia pernah jadi Menteri Komoditi, penyumbang kedua terbesar dalam ekspor. Now jadi Menteri MITI. Saya rasa I think insya-Allah mudah-mudahan dalam soal ART dan juga apa juga rundingan-rundingan.
He added that Johari's experience in the corporate sector enables him to understand industry needs as well as the challenges of international competition.
Trade hits 3 trillion ringgit and GDP exceeds forecasts. What does this mean for growth? How will fiscal and subsidy reforms support this momentum? Which spending matters most? Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah speaks with MIER Executive Director Tan Sri Sulaiman Mahbub only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
The targeted RON 95 petrol subsidy under the Budi Madani 95 initiative is expected to save between 2.5 billion and 4 billion ringgit per year. The Finance Ministry said that the savings are subject to fluctuations in global oil prices and currency exchange rates. In a written reply posted on the Parliament website, the Ministry said the savings result from the targeted subsidy being distributed only to eligible groups. Meanwhile, the RON 95 petrol price continues to be determined by the automatic pricing mechanism, which factors in global crude oil prices, refining and distribution costs, and currency exchange rates. The targeted subsidy system also enables the government to manage spending more efficiently, particularly amid rising global oil prices. Man believed to have smothered his girlfriend to death detained. This and more after this breather.
Wanita penuh tempo, penuh cerita. Inilah Nona, inspirasi bertemu realiti. Setiap warna mempunyai keupayaan membangkitkan pelbagai mood dan emosi. Semoga istirahat anda memberi makna yang indah walau tempohnya hanya seketika. Dan terus setia sejam bersama kami kerana Nona, inspirasi wanita untuk semua. Nona di TV3 dan stream ditonton.
انت شو اسم العيلة؟ شو اسمك الكامل؟
Hin Raja berusia 6 tahun. Anak kepada Wisam dan Rami ini terperangkap dalam mimpi ngeri di Gaza. 29 Januari 2024, dunianya hancur. Sendirian di celah jasad keluarganya, dia merayu. 10 Februari 2024, dia ditemui kaku. Hin pergi sebagai saksi bisu kepada dunia yang gagal melindunginya.
هند كانت تحب تروح على البحر وكأنه البحر كأنه صاحبها يعني كأنه رفيق إلها.
Memperkenalkan isteri baru saya, Datin Ramona.
Kalau kau rasa aku ni kau, payah keluar.
Pergi nampak kampung.
OMG.
Seronoknya main dengan Datuk Kamal. Pukulan dia memang hebat.
Nona nak ikutlah bang, best ni bang.
Di Cerita Rama TV3 Sabtu ini 10 malam dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. Petronas will have its application to seek leave from the federal court to refer legal questions on the regulatory framework governing its petroleum operations in Sarawak heard on March 16th. The Apex Court fixed the date on Friday during case management before Federal Court Deputy Registrars Wan Fatimah Zahra Wan Yusof and Azharoni Abdul Rahman. Petronas filed a notice of motion under the Federal Constitution on January 10th, naming the federal government and the Sarawak state government as respondents. In a statement on January 12, the National Oil Company said the application was intended to ensure that it could continue operating in accordance with the applicable regulatory framework and good governance practices. Petronas said the move was not meant to challenge Sarawak's development aspirations nor to obstruct the role of Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros in the state's energy sector, but followed discussions and negotiations held since 2024 with Petros, the federal government and the Sarawak state government. Police have yet to determine the cause of death of a toddler who died after allegedly being left inside a car for 9 hours in Negeri Sembilan on Tuesday. State Police Chief Dato' Al-Zafni Ahmad said police are now awaiting the results of toxicology tests, which are expected to take some more time. Investigators found no physical or internal injuries following a 5-hour post-mortem examination. The victim's mother, who was previously detained, was released on police bail on Friday. Police have not ruled out the possibility that the 35-year-old woman may be called in again to assist with the investigation if necessary. The child's father was among 7 witnesses who were called in to have their statements recorded. The case is being investigated under the Child Act. The boy's mother found him unconscious in her car after she finished work at 5 p.m. He was believed to have been left in the car since 8 a.m. His mother had said that she forgot to drop him off at daycare before heading to work. In Johor, a man who is believed to have smothered his girlfriend to death with a pillow has been detained following a raid on a house in Batu Pahat on Friday. In the 1 a.m. operation, police found the 44-year-old suspect with injuries to his neck and arms, which are believed to be self-inflicted. He has since been remanded for 7 days and is currently being treated at the Sultanah Nora Ismail Hospital. Initial investigations suggest that the suspect allegedly killed the 41-year-old woman on Tuesday morning. She was found laying unconscious in the residence's living room. The victim's brother lodged a police report after she failed to return home for several days. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder. Indonesian couple caned 140 times for breaking Sharia law. The details when Nightline returns.
2025 dah habis. Jom kita tengok 2026.
Hubungan kita bukan betul pun. So apa? Main-main je. Awak bukan sayang saya pun kan?
Aku tak payah nak ambil tahu pasal hidup orang boleh. Yang kau nak panas ni asal.
Dia pandai tau. Dia pandai malu.
Kalau nak nasihat, nasihat dengan hati. Kenalkan Nur. Orang penting dalam hidup Abang.
Sampai bila abang nak tidur bawah ni? Kalau abang takut, Aira boleh tidur dekat tengah.
Abang risau belakang saya sakit.
Kau dah cakap sangat pasal mak aku kan? Kau cakap depan biji mata aku lah.
Saya layan awak macam sampah. Tapi awak layan saya macam princess.
Walau sampai detik yang saya ada separuh nafas, saya tetap akan cintakan awak.
Mak, tak perasan ke? Ha? Muka dia tu macam tak suka kita datang.
Malam kau pergi mana? Aku call kau tak angkat. Mesej pun kau tak baca.
Tapi, walaupun kerja macam tu, diorang lolek tau.
Perempuan!
Kalau bos nak, saya boleh tolong carikan kawan bos tu.
Sorry Cik Farah, saya nak pergi kat kereta ambil barang je.
Every time I see. Kau tak banyak muka dia jadi apa pun tak dapat.
Aku tak faham lah. Kenapa kau suruh aku tipu Fitidah tu? Saya ingin mengucapkan selamat tahun baru.
Selamat tahun baru. Selamat tahun baru 2026 kepada semua penonton TV3.
Dan juga Tantan.
Dia telah tiada, namun suaranya tidak akan pernah padam. Sebuah karya yang mengangkat kebenaran yang cuba dilenyapkan, simbol kegagalan dunia dalam melindungi nyawa yang tidak berdosa. Paparan kekejaman tanpa batasan. Setiap titisan air mata adalah gema kesedaran sejagat yang menggoncang dunia. The Voice of Hind Rajab. Sebagai tanda solidariti, bersama kita teruskan perjuangan ini.
On to the foreign front. A couple in Indonesia was caned 140 times for having sex outside marriage and drinking alcohol, acts that violate Sharia or Islamic religious law. The punishment was carried out Thursday in a public park in Banda Aceh, where the couple were repeatedly struck on their backs with a rotan cane as dozens of spectators looked on. The 21-year-old woman reportedly collapsed during the ordeal and was later taken away in an ambulance. The couple were caned along with 4 others, including an officer from the Islamic police force, who were all found guilty of violating Sharia. It is believed to be one of the highest numbers of cane lashes imposed since Sharia was introduced in Aceh following the province's special autonomy in 2001. Iran is prepared for the resumption of talks with the United States, but they should be fair and not include Iran's defense capabilities. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said this as he arrived in Istanbul on Friday for talks with Turkey, offering to help mediate tensions with the US. He said Iran would only consider what he described as just, fair and equitable negotiations, adding that no basic framework for such talks had yet been established. He also reiterated that Iran was prepared to escalate if if it came under attack following US President Donald Trump's threats. Meanwhile, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said Turkey was in contact with both Tehran and Washington and that he had spoken with US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff. Meanwhile, Trump said he has told Iran it must take 2 steps to avoid military action, halt its nuclear program and stop killing protesters, which he claimed is occurring by the thousands. He added that the US has deployed a large number of powerful ships to the Gulf, emphasizing that it would be preferable not to use them. His remarks come amid weeks of pressure on Iran to negotiate a deal on its nuclear program. Also in the U.S., hundreds of National Guard troops were mobilized Thursday in ice-stricken Mississippi and Tennessee to clear debris and assist people stranded in vehicles or trapped in homes without electricity. Southern states are racing to recover from a crippling winter storm, even as another surge of dangerous cold is expected to move in. The National Weather Service said Arctic air moving into the southeast will drive already frigid temperatures down into the teens by Friday. In Nashville, more than 79,000 homes and businesses remained without power. At least 85 people have died in areas affected by bitter cold from Texas to New Jersey. Sports now, football, the Super League. Kuala Lumpur City FC had to settle for a 1-1 draw against PDRM FC in a hard-fought clash on Friday night. Alisha Kashim gave the hosts an early advantage at the Selayang Stadium with a 12-minute strike. The Cops maintained their lead until the 63rd minute when Declan Lambert's goal kept for KL City in the game. Both teams pushed for a late winner, but neither could break through and the points were shared. The result leaves KL City in 3rd place with 30 points, while PDRM sits at the bottom of the league. On to badminton, the 2026 Thailand Masters. Misfortune struck again for national men's singles shuttler Lee Zijia after he was forced to retire during his quarter-final clash in Bangkok on Friday. Playing against Indonesia's Alwi Farhad, the former world number 2 took the opening set 21-10 but lost the second 15-21 and did not continue into the deciding game. The reason for his withdrawal has not been disclosed. The latest setback is another blow to Zijia's efforts to rebuild momentum after a lengthy absence from competition last year. Earlier, independent men's doubles pair Nur Muhammad Azrin Ayub and Tan Wee Kiong saw their semi-final hopes end, falling 13-21, 14-21 to China's world number 72 duo Hu Kui-wan and Lin Xiangyi. Meanwhile, the women's singles shuttlers lifted the spirits of the national camp by securing a spot in the final, a first for the nation in the event. World number 42 Wong Ling Ching battled past India's 48th-ranked Isha Rani Barua 18-21, 21-16, 21-13. In the last 4 clash, Ling Ching will face Go Jin Wei, who upset her higher-ranked compatriot Kay Letshana 12-21, 21-17, 21-19. For many residents of Kabul, simple stoves fueled by wood and coal is the most practical way to survive the winter, as an unstable power supply and expensive electric heating leave the city's inhabitants struggling in sub-zero temperatures. Let's take a look at the scene as we wrap up Nightline tonight. With that, I'm Nadia. Azmi. Thank you for watching and take care.